Hello guys, welcome to a new series of videos. This is going to be a little bit different from what I usually do, because this is going to be a series of 6, maybe 7 videos, where I will come back. As you've seen, I haven't updated anything in the last few months, but I've been very busy. I did a more or less sneakily push, and I wanted to use this series to come back on this push. It was the very first Emperor I got. Even though I played this game for over 6 years, I have never pushed an Emperor before. So I want to use my experience and the experience of other players who helped me push and were a great support to maybe give you guys some insight if this is going to be your first Emperor, if you're thinking about it, or if you're unsure, is it even worth it? Should I even do this? I hope to help you guys. Also, if you play primarily as healer, to show you it is absolutely possible and doable to have a very strong Emperor as a healer. You don't need to be doing damage or just build specifically for damage to be a very good Emperor. Also, I wanted to demystify the belief that the Emperor is always the best player in terms of skill. This is untrue. You do not need to be extremely skilled in terms of 1v1, 1vxing in order to be Emperor. You need to have a lot of support and a lot of time. That's the two primary things you need, is time, patience and support. If you're a skilled Emperor and you have a very strong M group, it will help once you have your Emperor to defend your M keeps, but it is not a requirement. I want to insist on this because for a very long time I was convinced that being Emperor was only something you could achieve if you were a good player. And I can tell you that this is so far away from the truth. So I wanted to demystify this. However, a good Emperor, someone who's used to playing Emperor, will be making a tremendous impact on his alliance, if it's not the whole campaign. So there are big differences between strong individual and group players as Emperor and newer people who tried the Emperor for the first time. But it's alright. You have to remember, everyone got their first Emp eventually. So we all went there and we've all started someday. So one of the important questions you need to ask yourself before you even start making plans to become Emperor, it's very important because this will determine one of the 3 strategies I will present you to get this achievement. So the first question you should ask before you even consider logging into Cyrodiil, and you need to have an answer to this, is why do you want to push Emperor? Why do you want to have this achievement? Do you want to have this just for the Ruby Throne, the housing achievement? Because when you get the Emperorship, you have access to a furniture which is called the Ruby Throne, and it does look absolutely stunning. Do you want to have the achievement because you are a achievement hunter and you just want to get your platinum for this game? Do you want to get the Emp achievement to get a feeling on how it feels to have experienced everything you can possibly experience in PvP in this game, like every option the game has to offer? Do you want to do is to have people see your name on the leaderboard, so more for frame? To be recognized of one of the big whales? I think you'll see where I'm trying to come to. There's lots of different reasons why people would want to push an Emperorship, and these reasons you will have to identify before you start pushing, because it will help you have an efficient strategy. If you want to just have Emperor for the achievement on the furniture, which is absolutely legit, you can just have, it's okay to just have it for housing. I would recommend a different strategy than if you want to have Emperor for having your name on the leaderboard for 30 days and proving to everyone that you can make Emp as everyone else on the most difficult campaign, where it's gonna take the most patience and time. These are two completely different motivations and they need completely different strategies. For me, personally, it was an ego thing, I have to admit. I am in this third category of people where I wanted to get Emp to prove myself, the friends I play with, and the friends I used to play with who now play on different alliances, that I can do this. I'm worthy, I can push an Emperor on a healer build on a 30-day campaign and sit there for several days. Even though I have a full-time 38-hour job, this was my core motivation. For me it was push Emperor on the 30-day campaign, which is at the moment of this recording Grey Horse, in order to prove myself and everyone else that I can do it. This was my motivation, and this is why I did it. I always wanted to have it, but it was Grey Horse or never. Also, I will talk about one last thing in this introduction. As some of you players maybe are not familiar with the requirements of getting Emperor, and why I told you in my first words that getting an Emperor has very little to do with skill, individual skill. It helps to be skilled, but it is not tied to getting Emperor, because the requirements to get Emperorship are very simple and do not only, they don't necessarily involve killing. You can push Emperor on a tank, or as me, on a pure healer spec. To do this, you need to be the player who has the most alliance points at the moment of your whole alliance. So you need to be, if you're checking the leaderboard, you need to be at rank 1. At the very moment your alliance capture all 6 keeps surrounding Imperial City. So these keeps are Jalman, Blue-Rot Keep for Ebonheart Pact, Alessia and Robeck for Aldmeri Dominion, Ash and Alswell for the Daggerfall Covenant. So your alliance need to control all these 6 keeps in order for you, if you're the player with the most alliance points, to get Emperorship. Also, you will get what is called dethroned the moment your alliance loses all 6 keeps. So if your alliance does not hold, once you crowned and you are Emperor, if your alliance does not manage to defend the 6 Emp keeps around Imperial City, you will be dethroned, and it will get someone else to get another alliance, or still you, if you're still rank 1 after, to get Emperor. I hope this is understandable. You cannot have if you want to get another Emperor, you always need a dethrone. I hope that makes more sense. So yeah, as you can see, the requirements for getting Emp are just making AP as much as possible to be on the first place, sustaining this, as I will develop on another video, and having the support of your alliance to push all the 6 keeps around the Imperial City, which is also called the Ring or the Emperor Circle. Depends on pretty much how people communicate. We used to call it the Ring because it's the Emperor Ring. So yeah, this is gonna be about it for this introduction. I will split this series into, as I said, 6 different videos, this being the introduction. My first video is going to develop the 3 strategies I will explain on getting Emperor depending on how your core motivation. Why do you want to get Emperor? What is the main reason? I will expose 3 different strategies that can hopefully help you to determine what could be the best way. If you already know the answer to this question, you probably already have the strategy, but still I will go into detail and explain to you the 3 different strategies. My second video is going to be about how to prepare an Emperorship. What do you do? What do you need to carry with you? How do you get ready? Because I do not recommend you pushing an Emperorship if you are not ready, because there will be lots of shortcomings, and once you start pushing, you need to figure out your strategy, and everything needs to roll to be the most easiest and less stressful, because this will be a very, very stressful moment. So if you can just get all the technical preparation, getting ready things out of the way, laid down, this is gonna be a huge help. So I will make a video about how to prepare for Emperorship, all the things I recommend knowing and paying attention to. My 4th video is going to go more into detail about the different phases of getting Emp. I have for myself identified 3 different phases of getting Emp, with the first one being the most stressful. Roughly it's making AP, pushing for Emp, and playing the Emp up until dethrone. I will go into details in these 3 phases. And lastly, I'm going to, with the help of other guild members, I want to bring you guys the perspective not only of me, but of people who have pushed their Emperor before and who have a lot more experience than I do. I pretty much just draw upon my first time experience to show you guys who have never done it, who are thinking about doing it again and have done it in a very long time, about if it's worth it. How did other people experience it? Because there is only very little about Emperorship and Emperorship as healer on YouTube, except for Deltia. There's very little information on how people live through this, because it is, I want to stress it once again, it is a very big commitment, so you shouldn't be taking this lightly. But yeah, I will let it up to you to decide if you want to do it. I just want this to be a helpful and maybe give you another opinion about this achievement, which is arguably the most difficult achievement to get in the game at this moment of speaking, because it relies on so many other things you cannot only do yourself. So yeah, I hope this little series will help you guys decide if it's worth it, or just give you, if you're curious, an insight about how my Emp push was and how I lived through it. Thank you so much for watching, and see you very soon in my first video about this Emp push. Bye bye!